Hello, my name is Tylluan Penry. I'm a solitary pagan witch. I'm an author and the founder of the Wolf and the Howl Press. And tonight's little chat is in answer to a query I had. Were witch hunters real? It's an interesting one. There's actually quite a famous film, isn't there, called The Witchfinder General, about Matthew Hopkins, who operated in Essex in the 17th century. I think it was also called The Lair of the White Worm, which has nothing to do with witchfinders really, but it was an alternative title. Right, were they real? Yes, of course, they were real. They were not as common, I don't think, as people would have you believe. I think this idea that Hollywood loves things like this, Hollywood and television, they love things like that because they can make a drama of it, they can make a story of it, You have your theme of persecution, of running away, of hiding, of some nasty person chasing, and, the witchfinders are nearly always baddies. Sometimes it's, in horror stories, they're chasing an evil witch, but it's fantasy, a lot of it. But there were real witchfinders. People like Matthew Hopkins, they were foul. They were horrible, dangerous, wicked human beings. And were there a lot of them about? Yes, there probably were quite a few. Nothing like as many as we've been led to believe, Some areas had very, very few witches executed. Quite often they were let go. In Europe it was rather different, but in the UK they had some, and they had these sudden sort of, sudden crazes almost, where people went a bit potty and started chasing after witches. But they were not as common, I don't think, as we're led to believe. I mean, in Wales, I don't think there was anybody hanged for witchcraft in Wales. If there were very, very few and far between. Scotland had quite a few, parts of England did. It seemed to be whatever was the trouble at the time. When you had things like bad harvests and that, it was very easy to say, we've got to find a scapegoat for it, we've got to find someone to blame. Because if you didn't, if you felt that somebody had to be to blame, well, then it had to be somebody else. Because if there wasn't anybody else to blame, you had to blame yourself. That's why, for example, you would often have churchmen blaming their congregations for the Viking invasions, the sort of the 9th century Viking invasions, 9th and 10th century. They'd be saying, oh, well, it's because the men have become effeminate, or the men have been wearing their hair long, or they've been wearing fashions, or the women have been wearing perfume or something. Now, if you want to avoid the church telling you it's your fault, you go and find a scapegoat, which is basically what it is. And it's one reason why we have to be very careful what we do and mix with, even nowadays, because people still look for scapegoats. You've only got to look at 1930s Germany, when the Jews were picked as scapegoats. In the modern world, where Muslims are picked as scapegoats, or Jews again, or whoever, we have to watch that there is always this mentality. And of course, unscrupulous politicians and leaders will often fan the flames of this fear, because it is fear, this xenophobia, it is fear of people, it's fear of the other, fear of the difference. In ancient Greece, the Xenoi were the barbarians. Anybody who wasn't Greek was basically a barbarian. And we still have that mentality. If you're not with us, you're something else, And of course it's not true. If you're not with us, you're against us. Totally untrue. Could be completely apathetic. Couldn't care either way. It's just a nice, easy way to blame somebody. It's a stick to beat the dog with, as we say. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, witchfinders were real. Witch hunters were real. They were not as numerous as television and the media like to pretend. They are still among us, but they mightn't be hunting witches. They hunt other prey at the moment. And you just have to recognise it for what it is. Not a bad idea, actually, to go looking for the modern-day witch hunters. Who are they hunting this time? Who are they after? Oh, that's one of the dogs drinking. Oh, they don't have to make a racket. But anyway, it's good practice. It's good practice to look around and see what you can see, because a good witch learns to observe. A good witch learns to watch what is really going on around her. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.